So our BBC apprenticeship application process is made up of 4 key stages. So over the next 45 minutes, we'll talk you through each stage. So you have your online application, online assessment, video interview, and finally assessment centre and interview. And at the end of the session, we'll try to answer some of your questions, but we really do hope this webinar covers enough information and where to go to find out more. I'm now going to play a quick video which is a brief overview of key stages, and we'll dive into more in more details after.
So you're hoping to apply for an apprenticeship at the BBC, but you're finding the application process a little bit daunting. Let us talk you through each of our application stages, and hopefully by the end of this video, things will be a lot clearer and you'll be ready to hit submit. Let's start from the beginning. So the first thing you need to do is fill out an application form. Now this form has two purposes. Firstly, we need to collect some info about you to make sure you're eligible for the scheme that you're applying for. Secondly, the form will ask you why you're interested in the apprenticeship. Now it's really important to do some research at this stage, just to make sure you're kind of applying for the scheme that you're most interested in for this point in your career journey. Have a look at the level of apprenticeship you're applying for and whether that's right for you. Also, it's important to look at the roles people typically go into after completing the apprenticeship you're applying for. Is this something that interests you or excites you? For our apprenticeships, we don't require you to upload a CV or cover letter as part of your application.
Once your application form has been seen, you will be invited to do a short interactive assessment. This will vary depending on the apprenticeship that you've applied for. We're not worried about past experience. We want to hear about your strengths and your skills. You will have a chance to practice beforehand, so don't worry about that.
Candidates who reach stage 3 of the application process will be invited to submit a new set of information via a digital platform. At this stage of the process, we want to know more about you. So what you like doing, what you're good at, and what motivates and drives you. Our questions will require you to submit written responses and video responses. Don't worry though, you'll have the opportunity to get familiar with the platform and recording your responses, and you can actually re-record your responses as many times as you need to. Don't worry, we're not scoring your performance. It's not an audition, but you might want to think about the location that you're filming in. Remember, we're listening to what you're saying, so don't worry if you're nervous about being on camera.
At step 4, you will need to complete an interview or assessment centre. These are usually held virtually, but could be in person. For some of our schemes, you will also need to complete a pre-assessment task, and this will be linked to the skills you will need for the apprenticeship that you've applied for. This is for you and us to determine whether it is the right scheme for what you hope to achieve. There will be the opportunity to meet BBC staff and ask any questions you may have as well. One you might be thinking about at the moment is what you should wear for your assessment centre or interview. And the answer is whatever you feel confident and comfortable in. You don't need to wear a suit unless it's what you would normally wear, but please don't rock up in your PJs either.
And the final step, step 5, if successful, we'll send you an offer to join us. Between then and your start date, our schemes team will be in touch with everything you need to know before your first day. And you'll also have the opportunity to connect with fellow people on your scheme and have any questions you need answered.
Our ambition is that the BBC is for everyone and should include everyone. We are proud to be a Level 2 disability-confident employer and committed to removing disability-related barriers. We take inclusivity seriously and want to ensure that all candidates who have a disability or have long-term health conditions receive the support or adjustments they need.
If you require reasonable adjustments for the application process or have access needs that you'd like to let us know about, you can do so via our online contact form, which is available on our Early Careers website. We'll be happy to have a conversation in confidence to discuss how we can best support you throughout the application process.
That's such a great video. You can rewatch this back on YouTube at Live at BBC. So let's go on to online application. So this is where we assess your eligibility and learn more about your motivation for applying. So take your time reviewing the job advert to ensure you meet the criteria for the specific scheme you're applying to. It is essential that you read the eligibility questions carefully. Incorrect answers could result into automatic disqualification, but you don't need a CV or a cover letter. Instead, we'll ask you a few questions to understand your interest and suitability. For example, why do you want to apply for the BBC HR apprenticeship? To be eligible for an apprenticeship at the BBC, you must be at least 18 years old by September 2026, must have lived in the UK continuously for the past 3 years, must be legally eligible to work full-time in the UK for the full duration of the scheme, must not be currently enrolled in another apprenticeship, must not hold a qualification in the same subject at the same or higher level. To make the most of this opportunity, be specific about your motivation. So think carefully about why you want to join the BBC and what excites you about the scheme. Do your research, look into different apprenticeship schemes and choose one that suits your interests and strength. But just remember, you can only apply to one location per scheme each year. So if you apply to more than one, your application will be withdrawn. So make sure you pick the right fit and tailor your application accordingly. Check the eligibility criteria, so make sure you meet all the requirements before applying. This helps avoid disappointment and ensures your application is considered. Complete every section carefully. Accuracy matters, so double check that you've answered all the questions thoroughly and honestly, and no section are left blank. And let us know about adjustments. If you require any support or adjustment during the application stage or assessment process, whether it's related to accessibility, neurodiversity, or other needs, please let us know. We're committed to making the process fair and inclusive for everyone, but we'll touch upon that more later on. So now I'm going to show you a little demo on how you can apply for an apprenticeship role. So the first thing you want to do is go onto the BBC careers page and click on schemes on offer and see what's available this year. Choose the scheme that you want to apply to. For this demo purpose, I'm going to apply to production apprenticeship. You want to read all the details and check the eligibility. And once you're ready, you want to click apply. As mentioned before, you don't need to upload a CV or a cover letter. If you don't already have a BBC account, fill in your personal detail and your information to create one. And you want to scroll down to job specification section and start answering the questions. As you can see, we're doing that here now. Make sure you take your time answering these questions. So there is a section on education. You'll need to go back up and enter your qualifications. Just like so. And the final question will ask you why you want to apply for the scheme. Once everything is complete, hit apply button to submit your application. So if you're eligible, you'll be invited to take an online assessment by Catfinity. It looks at your strengths, skills, and how you match well with the BBC values and the ways of working. It helps us to get to know what you're good at and what motivates you. So depending on the role, the assessment may include motivation questions. So these help you understand how your strength and your work style matches to the role. It also gives you a better idea what kind of tasks you might be doing in that area. Strength-based questions, so these assess your natural abilities and how you approach different scenarios. And then you have the situational judgment exercise. So you'll be given a workplace scenario and asked how you would handle them. And depending on the scheme you have applied for, you may need to do a coding task or a verbal reasoning assessment. But once you have completed the assessments, you'll receive a feedback within 48 hours. This also serves as a confirmation that you have submitted your assessment. We understand that online assessments can feel daunting, so we've made sure that you have access to a dedicated practice hub. Once you're invited to the online assessment, head over to the Catfinity preparation hub to explore sample questions and get familiar with the format. Here are a few commonly asked questions about Catfinity assessment. So is it timed? Nope, you can take the assessment at your own pace. Is it device friendly? Yes, you can complete the assessment on your laptop, tablet, or even your mobile phone. What is the deadline? You'll usually have 10 days to complete the assessment. And the last point that I will say is to take your time, prepare well, and give it your best shot. We're excited to see what you bring to the table. So now I'm going to show you a little demo on how Catfinity works. So before you start, you'll fill out a short demographic survey. For this demo, we're selecting prefer not to say. Once that's done, you land on a page with helpful tips. So take a moment to read through them. Click on continue to watch a short BBC video. So once the video finishes, you will see a consent page confirming you are ready to take the assessment. So you just need to read through all of that and confirm. Once you save and close, a quick tutorial will pop up to show you how the test works. So now that the tutorial has finished, you can now start your assessment. The assessment involves ranking scenarios in order. You will have to do this multiple times across the 5 section. And if you reach to this stage, all materials and instructions will be sent to you to help you prepare. Before we move on to the next part of the session, where my colleague Stefana will take over, we'd like to hear from you. So Alison is now going to put a poll on your screen, just a quick question to hear what you're thinking and where you're at with the BBC apprenticeship journey. Alison, can you please put the poll up? Amazing. And bear with me. I can't see the poll. Okay, yeah,
People are
perfect.
filling it in. I will give it a few seconds, but
Thank you.
votes are coming in thick and fast. We've hit 150
Perfect.
votes so far. I give it a
Just
few
give
more
it a couple of
seconds.
minutes.
anyone else wants to tell us their motivation, I'm going to stop the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Amazing. I am going to put the poll on here. Can everyone see this? What the scores are?
Yep, and we've got thumbs up
Amazing.
hearts.
Perfect. So it looks like a lot of the audience's motivation for applying for the BBC Apprenticeship Scheme is for passion for media and broadcasting. So for those who are driven by genuine interest in storytelling, journalism, production, or digital content, so the BBC Apprenticeship Scheme offers a hand-on experience. It is one of the most respectable media organisations, so perfect for turning passion into a career. And then we have BBC Reputation and Opportunities. So you're drawn to the BBC Global Influence, diverse career paths, and commitment to training and development. So being part of the BBC opens doors across media, tech, business, and beyond. Then we've got Want to Earn While Learning. So you're looking for a practical route into industry that doesn't require university. So BBC allows you to gain qualifications, build skills, and earn a salary all at the same time. And then last but not least, we've got Not Sure. So you're still trying to figure it out, and that is okay. This webinar is great for you to learn more and ask questions and see if a BBC apprenticeship is the right fit for you. So yes, thank you for answering the question. I'm going to pass you on to Stefano. And yes, I'm just going to pass you on to Stefano to talk about the third stage of the process.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Molly. We'll move on to the next stage, so the video interview by HireVue. So if you successfully pass the affinity assessment stage, you may be invited to take part into the next step, the video interview by HireVue. So this stage, the process gives you kind of like an opportunity to talk about your strengths and your motivation for applying for the role and the scheme, and the contribution that you're hoping to make at the BBC. You'll be asked 3 to 4 questions, which will be asked to respond by video and writing, or both. For each question, you'll have about 10 minutes to prepare, followed by 1 minute and 30 seconds to record your response. We kind of keen to hear about your strength, motivation, and what makes you stand out. So remember to be authentic, be confident, and most importantly, be yourself. And don't worry at all, you'll have the option to pre-record your answers. If you'd like to give it another go. Next slide, please. Here's some tips to help you with your video interviews. So first of all, choose a quiet, comfortable space where you can focus without distractions. This give you like the chance to concentrate and focus on the questions, really. Test your camera and microphone. It's very important. Technical hiccups can get in the way of your message, but a quick check ensure that what you say comes through loud and clear. So reflect also on the BBC values, so demonstrating how your values align with ours, like creativity, integrity, public service, so that you're not just applying for a job, but joining a purpose-driven organization. Do your research as well, so knowing that you want to work for the BBC and what excites you about the role helps you answer a full, really genuine and very informed. And lastly, be yourself. We're not just looking for rehearsed perfection, just looking for authenticity, passion, individuality. So let your personality come through, because that's what makes you memorable. Thank you. Next slide, please. For written questions, there's no time limit, but there is a character limit. So here's how to stand out. So proofread carefully. So there's no built-in spell check. So typos or grammar mistakes can distract your message and make it seem rushed. Answer the actual question. So it's easy to go off the topic or answer what you wish had been asked. But staying focused shows that you understand what the task is and you can follow instructions. Communicate effectively is also one of the key qualities we look for. Use your character limit wisely. So you've got limited space to make a strong case. Prioritize your strengths, relevant experience, and what makes you a great fit for the scheme. Every sentence should add values. Next slide, please. The final stage of the recruitment process is the interview or assessment center, which typically take place virtually by Microsoft Teams. During this stage, you'll be participating in a welcoming session, a group exercise, and a one-on-one interview. This is also a valuable opportunity to showcase your skills, collaborate with others, and express your enthusiasm for both the role and the BBC. So we're looking to see how you approach challenges, communicate effectively with the others, and align with our values. So next, please. The final stage, the assessment center and the interview. So what to expect during the final stage of the process. There's a pre-assessment tasks that usually be sent on the same day as your invite to your assessment. You'll be asked to complete role-relevant tasks. These are designed to give us an insight on how you approach challenges and think through problems related to the role. The welcoming session will kick things off with a warm welcome for the team. You also get a chance to meet your fellow candidates, hear more about the day ahead, and ask any questions you might have. Next will be the group exercise. You work collaborative with other candidates on a scenario-based task. This is another chance to show how you communicate, contribute ideas, and work as a part of the team. And finally, the interview. You'll have a one-to-one interview where you can share your strength, motivation, and experiences. We want to understand what drives you and why this opportunity excites you. Next slide, please. The group exercise. So during the group exercise, you'll collaborate with fellow candidates to solve a scenario-based task, as I said earlier. This stage is designed to assess how well you work in a team, communicate your ideas, and contribute to an inclusive environment, core qualities we value at the BBC. And here's some tips how to stand out and why each tip makes the difference. So you should contribute to your ideas and invite others to share theirs. It's very important because this shows you're proactive and collaborative. We're looking for people who can lead, but also listen, and those will value diverse perspective and help others feel heard. Stay calm and use your preparation time wisely. So a clear head leads to clear thinking. Using preparation time, understand the task, and plan your approach helps you contribute meaningfully and stay focused under pressure. Show also enthusiasm and build on others' ideas. Positive energy is contagious. Supporting and expanding your teammates' suggestions demonstrate creativity, openness, and genuine team spirit. Exactly what we want to see. Manage your time effectively as a group. Time management is the key for delivering results. Helping your group stay on track shows leadership, organization, respect for the task and your teammates as well. And plan your workspace and test your tech beforehand. Technical issue can disrupt the flow. Ensuring your setup is ready means that you can fully engage in the exercise without distraction and show professionalism and preparation. On to the next slide, please. Lastly, we have your interview that will last 45 to 60 minutes and be conducted by the two BBC staff members. It's designed to help us get to know you and your strengths, your story, and your potential. There's some things that you might expect. So a mix of strength-based competency and technical questions. So these questions are crafted to explore how you think, how you work, and how you approach challenges. But don't worry, because each question will clearly explain by your interviews, so you know exactly what you're being asked. Some of the key focus areas to include are the strength and potential. So what are you naturally good at? Are you a great communicator? Do you thrive in creative environments? Maybe you're someone who stays calm under pressure or enjoys solving problems. These are the qualities that shape how you work and contribute to the team. And then your motivation to joining the BBC. So why this organization and why this scheme? And also real life examples of challenges and achievement. We want to hear also about moments that matter and how you handle them, what you learn and how you shaped you. Here are some other top tips. Oh, sorry, next slide, please. Here are some top tips for our interview. You should use the STAR method is a structured example to build on your answers. So the STAR method is situation, task, action, and results. Helps you tell the story in a clear, focused way. Ensures your answer are well organized and highlight your impact, making it easier for interviewers to understand what your strengths and potentials are. Think about why you want to join the BBC. Motivation matters. When you can clearly explain why the BBC appeals to you and whether it's our values, our content, and our mission, you show as you've done your homework and that you're generally excited about being part of our team. Reflect on your career goals and how this apprenticeship fits. We're looking for candidates who see these as more than just a job, but it's kind of like a stepping stone. Connecting the apprenticeship to your long-term goals shows that you are thinking ahead and ready to grow with us as well. But also ask through thoughtful questions at the end. Interviews are two-way streets, so it's always a good chance to learn more about the BBC and decide if this is actually the right fit for you. On to the next slide, please. And finally, some final points for a successful application. Read the candidate support materials and use the practice zone. So these resources are designed to help you succeed. They give you kind of insight into what expect at each stage and offer practical tools to prepare. Using the practice zone helps you also to build confidence and familiarity with the format. So you're not going to be caught off guard. Complete your assessments and requests before the deadline. As I say, timeliness, show professionalism and respect for the process. Missing a deadline could mean missing out entirely. So staying organized and submitting everything on time is essential to keep your application moving forward. You should research and reflect on the BBC values. The BBC values like trust, creativity, inclusivity are the heart of what we do. Understanding and reflecting on these helps you demonstrate alignment with our mission and culture, which is something that we actively look for in candidates. Research the role in the scheme and think about why this is what you want to be doing. So tailoring your application to the specific role shows genuine interest and self-awareness. It helps you articulate why this apprenticeship is the right fit for your skills, goals, and passion, and that clearly makes your application stand out. In assessment, be your authentic self and show your passion. We're not looking for the perfect answer. We're looking for real people with real potential. Being authentic helps also to see your true strengths, and showing enthusiasm for the opportunity helps you understand what drives you. Remember, we receive lots of applications each year, so don't be discouraged if you're not successful at this time. So the process is very competitive, and use the experience to grow, reflect, and come back stronger next year. We'd love to see you again. That was great. Thank you very much. Now I'll hand the virtual microphone back to Moni.
Thank you so much, Stefano. That was great. Before we move on to the Q&A, I want to highlight something really important, and that is inclusivity. You might be thinking, this sounds great, but I'm not sure someone like me that could work at the BBC. But let me reassure you, you absolutely can. So our ambition is that the BBC is for everyone and should include everyone, and we are committed to providing a fair and inclusive assessment experience for all candidates. We can apply adjustments at any stage throughout the recruitment process and upon joining the successful candidates. So what do we mean when we say reasonable adjustment? So a reasonable adjustment is the term used to describe the changes that an organisation and people providing servicing functions will make for you if your disability, impairment or condition puts you at a disadvantage. For example, you might need more time for certain parts of the application or assessment. You might need interview questions in advance, or you need a British Sign Language interpreter. We can make adjustments such as subtitles over Teams, provide British Sign Language, or allow you to have extra time. Whatever is the appropriate adjustment for your needs. We're always here and happy to have a conversation with you in confidence to discuss how we can support you throughout the process. If you require any reasonable adjustments, please scan the QR code and complete the form to let us know. I'm now going to play a short video covering some of the frequently asked questions, and after that, we'll dive straight into the Q&A. So yeah, thanks for sending some of the great questions through. So let's play this video.
Yes, you will receive a salary for the duration of your apprenticeship scheme.
I think be enthusiastic about the scheme that you're applying for.
And for working at the BBC.
And be yourself.
You should definitely apply again. You can learn a lot from the application process and you can apply again in the following year.
I definitely know a bunch of apprentices who have kind of applied multiple times and then been successful on their third or even fourth time. And yeah, they're doing well now. So.
We would recommend just sticking with the one scheme, just give it your all and your complete focus.
You can only apply for one location for our schemes, but you can submit a second preference on your application form.
We offer a wide range of levels. If you go to our Early Careers website, find the apprenticeship you're interested in, you'll find more information there.
Well, firstly, you need to check and see if you're actually eligible for the scheme, and you can find all of that information on our website depending on what the scheme is. And then secondly, I'd say apply for something you're genuinely interested in and want to develop your skills in.
For work experience, you can find out more information on our BBC Get In pages.
You can find information about all of our schemes online. If you type in BBC Early Careers, or bring up our Early Careers website, and all the information you need will be there.
All of our apprenticeships have a 20% off-the-job learning element.
That's the bit you do with the training provider.
If there's anything that we haven't answered, you can contact us via our online contact form.
We look forward to seeing your application.
See you at work.
So now, please take a moment to read the FAQs on our Early Careers page and review the full job advert for the role you're interested in. And you can scan that QR code and it'll take you straight to the FAQ page. And that brings us to the end of today's webinar. We really hope you found this session helpful and feel more confident about applying to the BBC apprenticeship. We're excited to see you all and your applications come through. Remember, the most common questions can be found on the FAQ page of our BBC Careers website, so do take a look. And don't forget to follow us on our social media. We regularly share top tips, key dates, and the latest updates. And now it's time for our questions with our lovely Alison with our live Q&A. So I am going to stop sharing now.
Hello, hello, hello. So welcome to the Q&A section. Don't run away yet. I see some people leaving. Don't run away yet. We've got questions to answer. And questions have been coming in thick and fast. Me and Matt have been typing away in the background. I'm going to ask one question, and it's probably a serious question on their part, but I'm going to answer it. Can you give us a sneak peek of any questions you might face in the application process? Well done for asking. What I would say, apologies, I have a cold, is that when the job adverts go live, you will see the information that we're looking for, and it tells you like what kind of person we're looking for in terms of, you know, what you're interested in, that kind of thing. And if you read the job description properly, that kind of gives you the questions that we'll be looking at. You know, are you a this kind of person? What's your experience in this, if you have any? So whilst we're not going to start rolling off a whole heap of questions that we'll be asking in the application process, I would say really read the job description when it goes live, because it actually gives you a lot of information. And if you can, do a screen grab of the job description and keep it with you. So as you progress into each different stage, you will have that to refer back to. Oh, that's nice money. So that's my version of giving you a sneak peek.
Alison, can I jump in on another just sneak peek to give people that have given up their time on this one there? I think the other thing I would just add is it will be explained in the job descriptions when they do go live, but you can find it actually on our website. There's a section about how we hire, and there's a piece about our values and behaviours. And if you look at that, that really explains kind of what our values are and what we expect for people to demonstrate when they're at the BBC, but then similarly what you can expect from the BBC. So have a look at that and just think about kind of those values and those behaviours, because a lot of the questions will be kind of really focused on those as you go through the process.
Cool, thank you. I mean, what more can we give you? Come on. I've seen a few questions asking about the difference between the levels, like what do the levels mean on you know, the titles with the different schemes. Does anyone want to jump in and go over that one, or do you want me to say?
I can let Matt answer that one, or you can, Alison.
Cool.
Yeah, go on, Alison, you start, and then I'll just add in a few bits because I've seen a few of the questions as well.
Level 3 and 4 is kind of like the equivalent of A levels and BTECs. Your level 5, think of it as the equivalent of a starter degree. I've lost my words, like the first year of a degree. And then level 6 is kind of like the equivalent of a degree. So some of the schemes that are level 6, you will actually get a degree, and in the title it would say whatever the name of the apprenticeship, and then say degree apprenticeship or degree scheme, and some will just say level 6. So you don't, with those ones, you won't get an actual degree, but it's degree equivalent. So yeah, those are the different levels. So say like if you've done GCSEs, you can apply for the levels 3, 4, 5s, 3, 4, 5s. If you've done A levels, you can apply for the 5 and 6s. Technically, you can apply for a lower level, but what you can't do is say if you have done level 3, which is an A level in business admin, you can't then apply for the level 3 apprenticeship in business admin. You can't apply for something that you've already studied that's the same level or a level below. So you're either looking for the same level in a different subject or the level up in the subject that you've already studied. That's the best way to describe it. I hope that makes sense to everyone.
Yeah, I would just add onto that, Alison, really quickly. I can see there's lots of questions about kind of which scheme would be best for me, or based on your kind of circumstances or your your experience. We'd really encourage you to think about kind of what area you would like to be kind of getting into in the BBC, and which area kind of really aligns to your passion and your interests. And then join the webinars for those sessions. The recordings will be available for the webinars, but then that goes into a little bit more detail about the kind of requirements and the prior learning or the prior qualifications you may or may not be allowed to have in those ones there. So those will go through. There is one question I know that has come through a few times about our kind of different journalism schemes. And we have a level 5 journalism scheme, which is our junior journalist scheme. And we have our level 6 journalist scheme, which was, I think some of you were looking at it from last year, it is very similar to our level 7 journalist scheme. So it's the one that's aimed at if you do have some prior journalist experience, that's the one to look for. So appreciate we're not going into scheme details on this call, but I've seen lots of questions on that. So again, just kind of helping answer that now.
Cool. One for either Stefano, Matt, or Mani is about timeline. Someone has asked roughly what is the timeline of the entire application process. So say their scheme opens later this month in a couple of weeks, and so they apply at the end of October. What's the rough timeline? Someone.
I'll go for it. So yeah, as Moni said right at the start of the call, we open for the first wave of applications on the 21st of October. So that's for all of our schemes that aren't kind of our production-based schemes. And then we do open all those production schemes in December. We will then be open for a number of weeks, and all the details will be on your kind of job adverts for that. And then after that, you can expect, we will regularly update you across the process. But it does take typically about kind of 3 months for us to kind of complete that process. So We'll keep you updated, and I know it's something that people will be actively kind of refreshing the inbox, but we do just kind of try and keep you updated in terms of when you'll be asked, invited to the next kind of stage, or when something will be required for you, so that you don't have to constantly be doing that. It just helps us because obviously we get a large volume of applications, so we do need time to go through those. But then similarly, each of your kind of higher view assessments that Moni and Stefano talked about all get reviewed by one of the hiring teams or one of the individuals that you would be working with. So those individuals are taking that time to kind of really review your applications through that process. So yeah, it typically takes kind of about 3 to 4 months is what we say, but we'll keep you updated with those timelines throughout it.
Cool, thank you. I've had a few people ask about HND qualifications. Matt, I'll put that to you. If they're studying a HND, are they still eligible to apply?
I think we probably have to pick up specifically on individuals' kind of qualifications and which scheme they're looking to apply. So I think on those ones, we would just point you towards our query inbox, that we can kind of pick those up specifically, because it will vary on individual circumstances.
Okay. Someone has asked, how long is the window this time round? So schemes will be open for 4 weeks to apply for, but every scheme that opens does have the deadline day on it. So you will be informed of that. I would say try not to fill it in the night before. I do know people who have, and they've been successful, but you know, for your own blood pressure, I wouldn't recommend it. So the deadline date is on there for you.
I saw another question, maybe Moni, Stefano, you can take this one, that was related to that. Is there any advantage of applying early compared to applying up to that deadline day?
I would say there isn't an advantage, but we do recommend everyone applying as early as possible, just so if there's any technical issues and it goes past the deadline, we won't be able to extend the application process for you. So as early as possible.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, you will. You know, you would, if you are eligible for the scheme based on your responses to the application, you won't hear from us until that deadline day passes. If there is something that you have submitted on your application that means that you're not deemed kind of eligible for one of the schemes, you may hear ahead of that deadline, just on an outcome on that piece there. So, but there is no advantage of getting it in on the first day or getting it in the last day. But to Alison's point, I would definitely avoid getting it in that last day, because your blood pressure will significantly increase if you do have a tech issue. And unfortunately, we aren't able to accept any applications beyond those deadlines.
Get it in early and then sleep the peaceful sleep of someone who has submitted their application in before the deadline.
One of the questions, one of the topics that I didn't actually cover is if the apprenticeship scheme is permanent or is it fixed term contract. So yes, all of our apprenticeship schemes are fixed term contract, and that will be on the job application as well.
Yes, it is. One thing that does happen is you do get support in your next steps. So you don't just get to the end of the apprenticeship and then we're like, see ya. Your scheme specialist will support you before your apprenticeship even ends into trying to find, you know, we would love you to stay with us. We just can't guarantee it. So the scheme specialist will support you in your next steps. So don't worry about that. All webinars, and I will post some links in a minute, all webinars are being recorded. I have a feeling that I didn't start the recording at the very start of this. Apologies. I thought I had and it didn't start. But we will be putting them all on YouTube channel, and I'm going to post the links to all the various different useful links, including our YouTube channel, momentarily. Matt, were there any other questions that you saw?
Yeah, why don't I take a few whilst you're going through that? So there's been a couple of questions about whether you need to upload a CV or whether there's any advantage of uploading a CV or a cover letter. You don't need to upload a CV or a cover letter. It won't be something that would, it isn't something that gets looked at for our apprenticeship schemes. I know that when some of you might go on there, you might see the option to be able to do so, but that is not something that we require for our apprenticeship schemes, and something that doesn't get looked at or doesn't kind of impact on it. You will ultimately be asked questions that would be similar to your kind of cover letter throughout the process, so go from there. There was a couple of other questions that I saw about kind of feedback. So yes, you do get kind of feedback after your Capfinity assessment, and when you've got through to that, that's focused on your kind of strengths and in some areas of development that might have kind of been highlighted through that. You also will get feedback if you do attend our assessment centre or our final interview, and you'll get feedback from those individuals that have interviewed you at that stage. Molly, I know these kind of questions are a little bit more kind of scheme specific, but there's a couple of questions just about kind of the length of the apprenticeships. I don't know if I want to just pick those up quickly.
Yeah, of course.
So just a question is like, well, this was a very general one, so you can probably give a very general answer. So how long is an apprenticeship?
So our apprenticeship, they can range from 13 months to 48 months. So for example, production, there will be 13 months contract. And then for project management, for example, that will be a 48 months contract.
Oh, this is a good question. What was one of the most important things you learned in your own application process? So turning it on us a little bit in terms of actually, if you were giving some advice, to everyone here, what would be something that you would kind of reflect on having gone through processes
As a former
yourself?
apprentice, I think that's a Stefano question.
Yeah, there you go.
Through the application process.
I was going to say mine, but yes.
Well, it was my time. Right. So I guess I learn more about myself and my potentiality. That's one thing I've learned about myself, just applying.
Cool. Any tip?
Be authentic self, be confident, and prepare in advance, because it does help. It does help a lot.
Oh, there you go, from the master himself. One person asked, the application itself, the first bit, do you have to fill that all in one go?
No, you don't. You can save your application as you go through. The actual initial application form typically only takes probably, kind of 10-15 minutes to complete. Yes, there is a written question on there that might take you a bit longer to compile, but actually it's more just a kind of a collation of your personal information and the questions related to deem your kind of eligibility for it. So if you haven't already, you can go onto our kind of careers website and already set up your kind of profile. So when roles do go live, you'll then kind of, I suppose, already have a profile, so you won't need to do things like setting up your password and setting up your email address or answering some of your kind of basic address details and all the various different things. You can also, if you create a profile, create a job alert on the careers site, which means that actually you can set it so that whenever an apprenticeship role kind of goes live on our website, you'll kind of get an email depending on the frequency that you set to get those through. So that is another option or something you can think about now, because appreciate obviously roles don't go live for a little bit longer.
Thank you. I've had a few people message to say that they're going to be doing some traveling later on this year. I'm very jealous. So if they put in their application, could you just give the timeline again? I mean, everything is virtual. So if you're traveling and you have access to the internet, you'll still be able to continue to take part. But one person has said that they'll be traveling throughout November. Another person has said that they'll be traveling until December. So could you just go over the timeline again of the placement?
Yeah, of course. So the application opens for phase 1, which is 21st of October, and that should close 13th of November. Is that correct, Matt?
Yeah, it's 4 weeks after that date. So if that's what it takes you to, yeah.
Yeah, and you've got phase 2 opens 9th of December, and again 4 weeks after that date when it closes.
Yeah, what I would say, obviously, appreciate that there, people may be traveling or maybe different places. I think, as Alison said, all of the assessments can be kind of completed on mobile and on, laptop or desktop. We do kind of give you a time frame to kind of complete those in, so it's not a case of having to just do it the next day. Typically, for all the assessments, you get at least kind of 10 days to complete them. So appreciate that might create some challenges, but just need to kind of like work through those in terms of where you might be or what might you be needing to be done at that time.
Cool, thanking you. A few people have messaged, and I'll just reiterate what Moni said earlier, asking about reasonable adjustments. So we do provide reasonable adjustments, and you will see on all the different links that I've put, the bottom one, BBC Reasonable Adjustments contact form, is a smart sheet. So if you fill that in, you will then have a private conversation, confidential conversation with a member of the recruitment team. And then you can talk through what adjustments it is that you need. So as Marnie had said earlier, do not rule yourself out. The BBC needs to represent everybody in the UK. We can't do that if we are all the same, if we all think the same, come from the same background, have the same experiences. We can't be representative. So we as an organization have to be as representative as our audiences. So please don't think because you're neurodivergent, because you have a disability, or because you have a health condition, you can't work for the BBC. That is absolutely not true. And we do have, whilst you can apply for any apprenticeship, we do have some apprenticeships that are specifically ring fenced for people who are disabled, who are neurodivergent, and they're called BBC Extend schemes. And we are going to have a webinar about them next week, the week after, I think, talking specifically about them. So you could apply to any scheme, but we do have some schemes that are specifically ring fenced under the BBC Extend scheme for people who are disabled and neurodivergent. So do not let that stop you, please.
Yeah, I just add to that really quickly. Again, lots of information about Extend, but also lots of information about some of the adjustments that we can put in place just on the website. Obviously, Alison has signposted to that form that obviously we can, as you go through the process, we can obviously pick up any questions that you've got on those pieces. I think the main bit would be that don't feel like it's something that you can't, we want to know about it. There's a section on the application form that says it. Sometimes there won't need to be an adjustment when you actually get to that assessment stage, because actually the way that they've been designed, or the piece there, you might feel actually, I don't need to kind of have an adjustment applied at this point there. But ultimately, just put that information on your application form, and then that makes sure that we can kind of pick up that dialogue with you.
Cool. Perfect. 2 minutes. Matt, any other questions? I mean, we've got lots. We hope that we've answered the majority of them. And if we haven't, I've also put in a link to the FAQs, which Moni spoke about. But is there any other question that you want to tackle in the next?
Yeah, well, firstly, apologies. That I think we've got about 105 that are out there at the moment. So apologies that we're not going to be able to pick up all of those. I would just again, I know we've said it, but do look at coming along to some of the other webinars that we're running. Do follow us on social media, and definitely over the next couple of weeks and months. Our current apprentices will be putting lots on there to give you a better insight in terms of some of the schemes, and that's how we obviously keep people updated on the various different things. I think the only other question that there's been a few questions about is, well, actually maybe Moni, you can take this one because I know you did cover it, but there's just a few bits that are asking to clarify.
Yeah.
Just what to do in terms of looking to apply for maybe more than one scheme, and how that all works.
Yeah, of course. So we wouldn't recommend you applying to multiple apprenticeship schemes in 1 year. It is better to focus on one specific apprenticeship that you feel most excited about, so you can demonstrate your passion for that role.
Thanks.
Cool.
Yeah. So, it doesn't mean that if there isn't, two kind of schemes that obviously you're really think you are aligned to your passions, your motivations, that you can apply for it. But we have typically found that people that really focus on the process for one scheme that really kind of aligns to their passion and motivation is there. I think the piece that we went through in the piece is that if you've applied for the scheme once, don't be submitting application for multiple locations. We just look at one application per scheme, because effectively you go through a very similar application process, whether you've applied for London, Salford, Bristol, well, the various different pieces. So you'd just be repeating the process from that side there.
Cool. Thank you so very much. 7:01. Just about. We would have been fired if we were in news, but that's fine. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you found this really helpful and informative. Like I said, we are going to post all of the recordings of all of our webinars on our Life at the BBC YouTube, which is in the links there. And yeah, when the schemes open, have a good read. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. I did put the handles below so you get the up-to-date information. But, take a minute, have a good read of all the different schemes and really see, which is the one that you really want to go for. And then go for it. And as I think someone said on the one of the videos, we hope to see you at work. Cool. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you so very much, Moni, Matt, and Stefano. That wasn't in alphabetical order, but still. And have a good evening, everyone. Good night.